Have you ever stopped to think about something we use every single second of our lives? Artificial light. It's everywhere. Today, we're going to unravel the story of how we went from being creatures ruled by the sun to becoming masters of the electron, and how that journey completely changed not just our world, but how we feel. So let's just think about this for a second. For pretty much all of human history, our lives were run by the sun. When it was up, we were up. When it went down, so did we. But our entire civilization, everything we've built, is based on the moment we decided, nope, that's not good enough. We captured fire, and that kicked off this incredible, relentless quest to control light itself. To really get where we are now, we have to go all the way back to the beginning. For thousands and thousands of years, there were really only two kinds of light. And that first one, daylight, had this huge, profound effect on the way we built everything. Just look at this. It's fascinating. You've got two completely different worlds, both shaped by the exact same sun. On the left, in a place like Greece, you have this intense, direct sunlight that creates these super sharp, dramatic shadows. That meant architects could get away with really shallow details and small windows, and the buildings would still look incredible. But then you hop over to the right, in northern climates, where the light is often diffuse and overcast, they had to do the complete opposite. They needed massive windows and these deep, really pronounced carvings just so you could see the details. The light was literally sculpting the buildings. And that was it. That was the whole toolkit. You had daylight and you had fire. That's it. From the earliest cave painters all the way to the masters of the Renaissance, every single person worked under one of these two kinds of light. And the situation didn't change for a shockingly long time, not until the 18th century. And here you can really see that principle in action. See, with that direct sunlight, even a shallow little groove on a column just pops. But if you took that same column and put it under a cloudy sky, those details would look totally flat. You'd have to carve way deeper to get the same effect. It's such a fundamental rule, and it just shows you how deeply our buildings are tied to the kind of light that's around them. Okay, so now let's talk about that second light source, the flame. This kicks off this long, slow era of not just trying to keep a fire going, but of actually starting to understand what light is and how we might be able to control it. Now, progress was slow. I mean, really slow. But it was happening. We start seeing the first real lenses pop up in the 13th century. By the 17th century, you have absolute geniuses like Newton and Huygens arguing about whether light is a particle or a wave. Then things speed up. You get this series of brilliant inventions that make flame-based light way better, each one building on the last, from more efficient oil lamps to these incredible lenses that could throw a beam of light for miles. So this thing, the argan lamp, it was a huge deal. What made it so special was its design. It had a hollow wick, which let air get to the flame from both the inside and the outside. The result was a flame that was way brighter, much steadier, and a whole lot cleaner than anything before it. This was the high-tech lighting of its day, for sure. And then you get this, which is just a masterpiece of engineering. See, instead of using one giant, thick, and incredibly heavy piece of glass, Augustin Jean Fresnel figured out he could make a lens out of all these concentric rings. This made it way lighter, and it was brilliant at capturing scattered light and focusing it all into one super powerful beam. It totally changed the game for lighthouses. And believe it or not, it's a design principle we still use all the time today. But the age of flame was coming to a close. The next big jump wasn't just an improvement, it was a total revolution. This is the moment humanity finally harnessed the electron, and in doing so, created a world that never, ever had to sleep. You know, the first electric lights weren't actually light bulbs. They were these things called arc lamps, and they were incredibly bright, perfect for lighting up streets or huge buildings. But they were a real pain to manage, and you had this big problem. You couldn't easily split the power to run lots of them from one source. The real game changer was the incandescent bulb. Yeah, it wasn't as bright, but it was safe, it was reliable, and you could wire up an entire house with them. That was the breakthrough. Now, a whole bunch of people were tinkering with incandescent light, but the person who really cracked the code was Thomas Edison. His genius wasn't just inventing a long-lasting light bulb, it was creating the entire system to make it a robust mass-market product. He basically industrialized light itself, right down to the screw cap that we still use today. And just look at the sheer ambition of this era. This is a light tower. The dream was that these massive towers could bathe entire city blocks in a kind of artificial daylight.
For the very first time in history, the night itself felt like something that could be conquered. It opened up a whole new world of possibilities for work, for safety, for just being alive.
So, at this point, the technical problem of making light was pretty much solved. And that led to a brand new question. It was no longer just about how much light we could create, but about what we should do with it. We were shifting from the science of just seeing to the art of making people feel something. And this idea, which was really pushed forward by a lighting design pioneer named Richard Kelly, was completely revolutionary. For decades, the goal was just flood a space with light, make everything evenly bright. Kelly came along and said, that's boring, and it's unnatural. He believed that light needed to have a purpose, that it should have quality, that it should create emotion. And he came up with this beautiful, simple framework, like a grammar for light. First, he said you need ambient light. That's the overall background glow that just lets you see where you're going and makes you feel safe. Then you add focal glow. These are the spotlights, the pools of light that pull your eye to a piece of art or to the book you're reading. And finally, and this is the magic ingredient, you need the play of brilliance. That's the sparkle, the glitter off a chandelier, the glint on a wine glass. It's the light that's there for no other reason than to just delight you. So how do designers today use this language that Kelly laid out? Well, they have an absolutely incredible toolkit that lets them sculpt and paint with light with a level of precision that's just mind-boggling. Take this, for example. It's a tool called a wall washer. And it's not just a light you point at a wall. No, its reflector is specially engineered to throw light asymmetrically, so it creates this perfectly smooth, even wash of light from the ceiling all the way down to the floor. It's a clever way to make a room feel bigger and brighter without just blasting it with more raw power. And the amount of control they have is amazing. Designers use this whole suite of tools to shape the light beam. They can use lenses to focus it into a tight spot or spread it out wide. They use things called barn doors to give the beam a sharp, clean edge. They can use honeycomb louvers to cut down on glare. They can even use something called a gobo to project intricate patterns onto a surface. It really is an art form. And this brings it all back down to earth, to a place we all know, like an office. Lighting an office might seem simple, but it's actually this incredibly delicate balancing act. You need that general ambient light, right? But you also need focused task lighting right on the desks. And crucially, you have to do all of that while controlling glare on computer screens and somehow make the whole space feel comfortable and productive. It's all of Richard Kelly's principles at work in the real world. So I want to leave you with this. Take a second and just look at the light in the room you're in right now. I promise you it wasn't an accident. Somebody, somewhere, made choices about how bright it is, what color it is, where it's coming from. So ask yourself, who designed it? What did they want you to look at? And maybe most importantly, what did they want you to feel?